St. Anne's Retreat in Logan Canyon, Utah, had always been whispered about as a cursed place. Some believed it was haunted by spirits of those who met tragic ends within its walls. Locals avoided it, especially at night, but Liz, Brian, and Amanda were intrigued by the stories. One chilly autumn night, the three friends decided to explore the retreat for themselves. They drove up the canyon, the road twisting past shadowy mountains until they reached the decaying gates of St. Anne's. It felt as if they were stepping into another world. "Are we really doing this?" Amanda asked, her voice uncertain. Brian tried to sound brave. "It's just abandoned buildings. What's the worst that could happen?" Despite their laughter, an uneasy chill hung in the air. They slipped through a gap in the fence, and a cold seeped into their bones deeper than the autumn night. Their flashlights revealed broken cabins and moss-covered paths. The forest was unnaturally silent, as if it was holding its breath. Liz felt herself listening for something just out of reach. Then they heard a whisper, a woman's voice, faint and pleading, "Help me, please." It seemed to float on the breeze, coming from deeper within the retreat. Amanda clutched Liz's arm, fear in her eyes. "Did you hear that?" "Probably just the wind," Brian said, though he sounded unsure. They pressed on, Liz feeling as if unseen eyes were watching them. Shadows flickered at the edge of her vision, and the retreat seemed alive, observing them. In the center of the retreat, they found an old, cracked swimming pool, notorious for paranormal activity. Legend said a young nun had drowned there, and her spirit haunted the grounds. Standing at the pool's edge, Liz was filled with dread. A shadow shifted at the bottom, and she heard the whisper again, louder, "Help me, find peace." Liz felt her heart race. The voice was unmistakably real. She backed away, but before she could speak, Brian pointed. "Hey, look over there!" A figure stood at the pool's far side, a woman in a tattered black nun's habit. Her face was pale, her eyes hollow and empty, pulling them in like black holes. Liz stared, paralyzed, as the woman stepped forward. Her mouth opened and a voice filled the air, layered with anguish and rage. "Why, didn't you come for me?" Overcome with terror, they stumbled back. The woman advanced, her form flickering as if part of the darkness itself. "We need to go now," Amanda whispered, her voice trembling. They turned to flee, but it felt as if the ground held them back. The whispering grew louder, suffocating them. Liz glanced back, horrified to see shadowy figures emerging from the cabins. Men, women, children, all ghostly forms closing in, their stares silently screaming. Panicking, they ran for the gate. Brian struggled to open it. "It's stuck!" he shouted, panic in his voice. They pressed against the gate, the figures drawing closer, their hands reaching out. Liz felt a burning on her wrist, noticing fresh bruises shaped like fingers. The ghostly nun was near, her face a blend of sorrow and fury. "You cannot leave until I am free," she whispered, her words echoing in Liz's mind. Desperation gripped Liz. She shut her eyes, whispering, "We're sorry, please, we didn't mean to disturb you." Silence fell. The air warmed, and when Liz opened her eyes, they were outside the gate. The retreat was still and empty. The figures had vanished, but Liz sensed something had changed. They drove home in silence, the experience weighing heavily on them. But for Liz, it didn't end there. Soon, in the quiet hours of night, she began hearing the whisper again, "Help me find peace." With each night, the voice grew louder, more urgent. Liz felt the ghost's grip tightening, the bruises darkening, as if the spirit was still reaching for her, now bound to her. The curse of St. Anne's had followed her home, and deep down, Liz knew there was no escape. Because once you hear the voice, it's already too late. The end.